These bees. Today we're going to start doing our spring inspections. As if you've watched the channel, you know I've had knee surgery, so we've kind of had to put things off. I'm still recovering and in rehabilitation, but I just need to check. I've got a hive. The kitchen hive is what we're going to do today. We've had 2 hives swarm, and I'll have videos out there for those you can look at as well. One with a good return, one with not so good. So we'll get over there and get started and get back with you. Thanks. Girls are pretty busy today. They're flying a lot, so and it's been that way for a while. There's some really good pollen and nectar coming out there, I think. So what we're going to do today, I'm trying to be more prepared. I've got my Flow Super in the lid staged over there where I can put it on if it's full, like I think it is. And if it is, then we'll pull this winter feeder off. We'll check to see what's in as far as honey goes here, and then honey down below. So here we go. Give a little bit of smoke to let them know we're coming. And by the way, I'm using my battery powered smoker that I did a video on here a while back, so you can take a look at that. See all the bees on the bottom of this. You can just see how many bees there are. You can see also on this lid, there's a lot of honey there. So that's telling me for sure that there's a nectar flow already going. So more than likely we'll be putting our Flow Super on. And you can see the bees right over here. When we broke the lid off, there's honey in there, and they're lapping that honey up, which is what you want them to do. You want them to get that out of the way. Start pulling a few of these frames, and if they're full, like I think they are, then that'll lead me to assuming or hoping at least that we've got a good nectar flow going. We let our backyard just kind of go. I mean, we don't. Oh yeah, look at that, just full of honey, and there's some nectar in there alone. So I'm gonna check a couple of them. Yeah, same thing. There's nectar here, so again, we've got a good nectar flow going. Bullet here, that's for a drone. You can see there's a big old drone boy right there. You know, he won't sting you. Drones don't have a stinger, so he won't sting you, but they are noisy. So, in fact, I just noticed, if you look down inside here, way down inside, you can see the drone larvae. Rather late drone larvae that we pulled apart when we pulled this frame out. So again, we'll just set it back in there. We're going to pull this box off and check below, because one of the things that you worry about when you have a lot of bees and the nectar flow like this, and the drones coming in like we have, is that that's a good sign that they're probably going to swarm, especially the drone process. Let me get that back down. Okay, that's awfully tight in there. Okay, so now we're going to try to pull this off. This is not easy either. Yeah, wait, that's also what I was afraid was go. This is definitely full. I'm going to have trouble with my knee here getting this back. You can see all of the burr comb that was attached from the bottom of that super to the top of this. You can see all of those drone brood that's in here, and they'll lay that drone brood wherever they can. And The problem with this, in our case, let me scoot this back on. They put it in here and it attaches, and it makes it difficult to separate the boxes. We'll let them clean that a little bit. Some honey right there. So again, this is the last of March, and it's Good Friday actually, and to be able to come in here and find new honey, which is what this is rather interesting. It's just so early. We've had such a mild winter, and they started bringing in pollen back in January. So smoke them down here a little bit, and then I'm going to put my frame rack right in here to rest the frames on that I pull up. Now typically, the queen broods up over here instead of in the middle, which is normal for a bee. Also, there's typically not much over on this end. So if we got full honey on here, we know things are going, and we'll put the flow super on. There's actually brood over here, which is unusual. Come over here and look at this. You got a baby bee being ready to come out. So, like there's several of them. Here's one probably cleaning her own cell out. That's really interesting for this frame to have brood on it. So that tells me we need to start looking for the queen. It's going to be kind of hard to find her. She's typically, in this, at least in this hive, really hard to find. So, but the fact that we've got brood over here is telling me that they're probably out of space, because this, if anything, is typically a honey frame. Same thing. Got a lot of nectar here, which is normal. Some capped honey, which again is a lot for this time of year. Just kind of looking, there's a lot of brood there. It looks like maybe even a lot of drone brood extra. I don't see her, but she's really laying. Looks like there may be some eggs down in those frames. It's interesting, really interesting. If you ever find a beekeeper who thinks they've seen it all or know it all, they don't. It's so hard to, there's so much to learn and so much continuing to happen. Now here's where I normally will start seeing brood, but again, we've got nectar. So if we've got nectar in these frames that are normally set for brood, and you can see, in fact, there is quite a bit of brood there, that tells you that they're running out of space. So again, I'm going to put the Flow Super on today, simply because it needs to be. They're running out of room, and if they can't find spaces to lay, typically what they're going to do is they're going to swarm, because there's no place to lay. So, we're getting into the normal brood stuff. You can see a couple of these bullet frames or bullet cells here. Those are typically drones, and in fact they are drones. Again, you've got the same thing here. You've got a lot of brood, but in the brood there's a lot of nectar in where they should be having brood cells. So again, this is telling me that we've got an overcrowded situation, and we need to put the Flow Super on. This frame, I think I looked at it once, but I'll look at it again. Okay, well this frame, again, has got a lot of brood on it, especially on this side. But then on this side, you can see the brood, but you can also see uncapped brood here. This white, that is rather older larvae that they're getting ready. They will seal probably in the next few days. It's all over here. So she's really laying up a swarm. I was hoping to pull some old frames out of here, but there's not much of any way to do it. They're just, so again, so much brood there, and where there's not brood, there's syrup or nectar. So again, we've got a problem in that there's not enough room. Typically what happens here, that queen goes down and hides. I do want to go all the way across. Another good thing I'm not seeing though, is I haven't seen any swarm cells, queen cups. Now this is an older frame that I really want to get rid of. And so what I'm probably going to do is move it to the outside if the queen's not on here. That way it will allow them to go ahead and take care of these bees, baby bees, but we can, hopefully they won't lay any more in there, and will just be a frame that we can replace with some new frames. See, there's most all of those are going to be drone with bullet typed ones. This is probably another one that we could actually remove, although it's a relatively new one because it's a foundationless frame. So you have to be careful when you have these. I have a suspicion she's down inside there somewhere. Again, I don't have to see her. I'd love to see her, but I don't have to, because again, she's laying up a storm. Okay, so what we'll do now is I've got honey all over my leg. Let's put this thing all back together. And I'm gonna set this frame out for just a second so I can get these other ones in. Kind of get these things centered. Got a big old drone on my leg. He's wanting to ride. He's kind of a lazy boy. And then again, this frame, I'm gonna check one more time, make sure the queen's not on there. Yeah, she's not. So I'm gonna put this frame back in this slot, this first slot, because again, it's one of the ones that we got when we got the nuke a 3 years ago. So what we'll do is we'll put the medium super back on, which again is their storage. It's something we never take anything out of here. We just let them do it. One thing we'll talk about too, as we go to put the flow supers on here, people are going to say it's too early. Well, it's not, because there's no room for them to lay or put nectar in. Another thing you might hear is, why don't you put a queen excluder in? Well, since this is solid honey in here, the queen typically will not pass over a honey bridge, what Fred Dunn calls a honey bridge. She won't stay across that because she knows she can't lay there. So without putting that in there, that lets more bees get up in the flow supers and get them filled hopefully pretty quick. Keep our honey supers in. They have a silicone top on them, so therefore they're not going to let air in, and hopefully any bugs or whatever might be in there will get out. Okay, so I'm going to pull this over here. It's nice and light. These little from Be Smart's designs, little handles that fit in here, will make it nice for me to pick this up and slide this in. This time of year it's not as important to know the temperature in there, because it's in the 90s every day, which is what you would expect in the brood area. Okay, smoke them one more time. They crawl back out when you stop smoking. Another thing I'll do when I go to put this box on, is I'll start it on this end and slide it. that should help scoot some of them out of the way, because they tend to want to not get out of the way. Okay. Okay, so again, one thing we'll do is we'll verify that all these things are in the store mode, which is push down, which I'm almost certain they are. And then we'll put the inner cover on, and then the flow cover on, and then hopefully they'll start filling this thing up. So won't keep any more of you on this, because this will be a repeat of what we'll do on the corner hives. So interesting day. Kind of got what I thought I would see is a hive full of honey needing room. So now we've given them room, and they can go to town. Thanks. And a few days later, the bees are up in the honey flow. You can see them going in and working on the frames to make sure they're sealed together properly. There were more up here yesterday when I was out here, so this is about 3 days afterwards. So it's the earliest I've ever had bees up inside. You can see a lot of bees inside here from the end. So looks like we're going to have good acceptance of the flow frames this year. That's great.